just as per usual, we just quickly give you a bit of a background on why are we connecting on these alternative Thursdays. So it's absolutely critical that in these times that we understand we cannot operate alone. It's very difficult for business owners to operate in a silo, and there is so much to be shared and so much to be gained by understanding what other people are doing in making businesses grow, scaling their products and services, and finding alternate means of income streams under difficult times, such as, for instance, during the pandemic that we're under now. So the whole idea is that we, this new norm, as we call it, um, on a Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, we find a bit of common ground and we share a bit of what's happening in our individual worlds and what can we share with people around us. Some people like Andre, I see he's online. Thanks for joining, Andre. Dean, you've been a guest speaker before, and others. So thank you for joining us. And it all contributes much more towards us feeling part and parcel of the fight against building an economy and, of course, to survive out of it as well. All right, so just a little bit of stats again. So we showed us the slide last time, and I've had such a lot of comments and queries on it, reaction to it. I would say in some cases, some dismay when people, it's not news to us. We all know that our business confidence in this country is really at its lowest. We're struggling to actually, in the evening, put on the news channels and hear the same or all over again. Corruption, crime, the poor economy, and then on top of it, more corruption. As late as yesterday, we heard the Auditor General making comments about the further shocks they received in the corruption cases going down. So I wanted to put a slide in just as a reality check, just to show us and remind us where South Africa is actually lying in line with the rest of the world and in measuring our confidence as business owners. So if we go down the period 2010 right till today, you can see how we are sliding down and we're actually going spiraling continuously downwards while the global arena seems to be picking up a bit in business confidence. For us, it's difficult in South Africa, but what do? You know what? We can't just roll over and die. We can't just give up. So we have to find ways to overcome it. It also doesn't help that we are rated as the third miserable economy in the world. We just ahead of Venezuela and Argentina, and the stats are there. So South Africa has got a lot to do to actually get out of this hole that we're in. My power just went down here. I'm connected still remotely. So if Damien, if you can just tell me if you can still hear me. Anybody else? Lisa, can you guys hear me?
It's breaking up a little bit on my side.
Okay. All right. We're going to try and push through. Just tell me if it gets bad, please, Damien or Lisa. All right. So just to get back to the misery side of it, let's look at what we can do from a positive point of view and actually finding alternatives to these negative news bits that we receive every day. So at OptiGrowth, we strong supporters of take action, and those actions and whatever we do need to be done with speed. So if we have a strategy in mind, do it with speed. Don't linger on it. Make sure that you actually drive it with intent, commit to it, and have absolute focus on where you want to go. By doing that, you focus inwardly at yourself. You close your ears to the noise coming perhaps from negative parties and negative Nancy's around us. So the implementation of strategy with intent and a commitment is absolutely critical. Further to that, it will also help for you to be transparent about your goals and plans. Share with your staff, share with your customers, people around you, other stakeholders in your business. Tell them what your plans are and tell them where you're going. Today, Lisa's going to tell us what she did. She's going to be a bit transparent about what she did to have a fresh look at a business. And these things are not only encouraging yourself, of course, but it will also encourage and uplift the spirits of close people around you, including family, of course, so people that depend on your business and your income streams. The last point that I would suggest to consider in turning around your business or strategy is really to create an environment of cooperation from all parties. So this is exactly what we're doing today. We're asking people to join us. We're asking experts to share their opinions with us. And in this cooperation, um, we can learn from each other. We can perhaps pay forward a bit. We can help people. And we can perhaps just stir a bit of interest. Somebody maybe didn't think about a certain way of attacking a business strategy, and it can maybe just give that little bit of a push over to say, right, let's go in another direction. So cooperation between us as business owners, I think, is absolutely critical. Okay, so maybe just a quick reminder for those of you that haven't seen this before, and for those of you that know this so well, we strongly believe that there are those four stages of business. And in the startup stage, when you start living your business and you start actually living off your business, that lifestyle business, that's probably where most of South African small businesses are finding themselves at the moment. If they're not dropping back to the startup stage under that survival era. What our goals are, of course, is to scale our business and grow forward. Again, Lisa's done very well in scaling a business of products and services and working towards building a business that has got a valuable um, uh, outcome to it. In other words, it's worth something. So for us, it's absolutely critical that we understand where you are. Yesterday, I spoke to a customer and he said to me, listen, I really don't want to grow my business too big. I'm quite happy where I am, but I don't want to go too big. So of course, he's right. Everybody's got a vision of where they want to go, but perhaps the consideration that is that if you do not grow, you're going to stagnate. If you stagnate, you're going to struggle to get on your feet when a pandemic hits you or when a bad economic situation or customer drops you. So one have to be finding that balance in actually driving your business and where your ultimate goals are as a business owner. So know yourself and your market. Make sure that you understand the focus areas where you need to really work on aspects in your business that need attention or that has got opportunity to improve on. So understand what's happening in the rest of your market, what makes other people struggle, what makes other people successful. And then there are key elements. We believe in the 8 factors to the business, very strongly drive those points. And for our current customers, it's something that we really live by. So the variety of those points all contribute to, of course, not just the value of your business, but also knowing where you are going to focus your energy, your money, and ultimately your attention to. So it's just a bit of a reminder. There are those aspects around the business. And remember those 4 pointers. Whatever you do it with speed. Be transparent about your doing. Do it with intent, and do it in a collaborative way, dealing with people around you. All right. So at OptiGrowth, we decided that we also want to help people a bit in getting off their feet from the COVID impact. And here's a really great website for you guys to have a look at. This is a collaboration between Absa a few other entities, private companies that work with government. Solidarity Fund is one of them. And they created this return to work initiative. So it's a website. If you go to visit them on the website, they've got piles and piles and piles of relevant information. Very intuitive, easy to read, easy to follow. If you have a question about what happens if COVID breaks out in your business, what happens about the labor law as an example, what the employee's rights and obligations, what are your rights as the employer, go through it, have a look. In any event, we've shared that information on the shared folder. So whatever we talk about, wherever we get information, we've created a shared folder with this link through. So you're very welcome to make use of it, share it with friends, with other business owners around you, and see if there's any of those topics that can interest you. We cover from legislation right through to good guidelines, industry feedback on certain aspects such as TERS, UIF. Um, of course, there's the latest policies from the labor law, health and safety is on there. So it sounds like a bit of boring stuff, but it's all things that are critical to you as a business owner to understand how you're going to face this new norm that we are all dealing with. All right. Also, do we save our um, presentation today by means of a recording on YouTube. So please go and have a look, search for OptiGrowth and subscribe to our channel. All the previous videos have all been recorded there, so you're welcome to go and have a look. Some very interesting ones there. All right, so for today's session, we want to hand over to Lisa. So Lisa has been part of the OptiGrowth family for quite some years now. I think it's actually 2016 almost. We started seeing each other then, but effectively she joined us in 2017. And it is true that we watched her with pride as she grew both personally and within her business. She's a really a class act. She's a stakeholder in her own business, and she made a claim to her place in the marketplace. So she runs a digital market agency called The Word Architect, And we asked Lisa to just tell us a little bit more about where she is at today. She's got some exciting things she can brag to you about.
Welcome, everyone. Good morning. The signal seems to be a little bad, so I hope just let me know if you can't hear me at any point. Yeah, just a huge thank you firstly to OptiGrowth. They've been a huge catalyst in my business growing and personally growing as well. So been with them for going in 3 years now as part of the OptiGrowth team, as well as a member of the support group. And yeah, it's been amazing. And what I was one of those people that said, my business doesn't need to grow and it's just me, and there's no sellability to it and all of that. But I have learned lots, and definitely appreciate the fact that it's absolutely possible for any business to grow and be more than just a single person. So I was asked to come and chat to you guys and just take you through the journey that's been mine for the last been an entrepreneur and a business owner since I was 24. And I think the one thread that has gone through everything I've done is creativity and just thinking outside the box. And I thought I'd chat to you about that journey. So Henk, if you want to go to the next slide. Okay. So my journey into the entrepreneurial world was all started very boringly in insurance and assurance. And I was one of those Liberty agents at the ripe age of 24 that got thrown into the deep end and hated every minute of it. But from there, with the help of my husband, Donovan, we went into business together in the insurance industry, and we worked quite nicely together. And so eventually what was born after a couple of name changes and many different avenues was Silvertree, which was at that time insurance and assurance. And then I took the business over around about between 2008. And while that business and insurance is not very creative, I think within the business, I found ways of being creative, of ways to capture clients and retain them and constantly just keep things organized. I think that was the biggest thing. Keep things organized, make sure that I knew exactly what was going on all the time and to give the best of service. And from there, which was an absolutely wonderful business, a wonderful residual style business, to actually selling the business because I'd had at that point enough. I was like, this is not my passion, I need to explore more. And then we actually sold the business very successfully to PSG at the time. That was 2015. And I sat around at home and I was like, what do I do now? And I was told, just chill, relax, just enjoy it, be a housewife. And I think it lasted all of 3 months. And then I had a complete meltdown and I had to do something. So the question was asked, what are you passionate about? What do you love? And I said, I love to create. I love to be, just use my imagination. So what came from that was writing, which I have been doing since a teen. Writing stories. I've always been doing art, bit of acting, bit of dancing. I've always have this creative energy. And I thought, what can I do that can actually be a business? So I went online and I started to do some freelance writing, hence the Lisa Bell that was born, or the Lisa Bell brand that was born at the time. Did a lot of writing online, a lot of ghost writing for peanuts, literally hardly anything, and learned a lot. And at the same time, also did the MOVE program, which was fitness and health and personal training. So married those two together. And it was actually only because of someone saying to me, you need to expand and grow. At the time, it wasn't OptiGrowth. I hadn't met them yet, Henk and Damien and Barbara. And then decided that I needed to make it a business. So the Word Architect was born, and a primarily copywriting business, which has grown phenomenally. Has just in the last year, I'm actually can't believe how much it's grown. We're now a team of 3, and we have a whole affiliate of team members, what I call my architects. So from graphic designers, videography, photography, web design, and just recently added the OptiGrowth group as our growth architects. So very excited about where that's going, because my biggest, I think the biggest reason why the business has grown is collaboration. and just, you know, working with other people. And that has been just, yeah, amazing to do that, and to appreciate the fact that I cannot do anything on my own, and that I need to have people around me that are experts in their field. What has sort of transpired from all the marketing that I do for clients is that when I say my brand, which is actually my author brand, and have recently republished my novel that I wrote ages ago. So I have what we call a duet. It's urban fantasy, and there's 2 novels out at the moment. The second one is releasing on Amazon middle of September. And that's just been always a love of mine, but never really quite knew what to do with it. But now I do. So I'm hoping that I can make a real inroad on the author side of things. And yeah, lots of other ideas coming that I have all piled away somewhere. Another very awesome thing that has happened in the last few months is our digital magazine called Word. And we're in our 2nd issue, which just launched and released on the 1st of September. And it is a collaboration of experts. And I've gathered so many around me. And it's not just about us, it's about the fact that as a business owner, you need to have those people around you. So whether it be for marketing, whether it be for business plans and growth, or IT, or accounting, or whatever it is that you need, hopefully you can find it in our magazine. And it's bite-sized pieces of information, so it's very palatable, very easy to read. And I would love to know everyone's opinion, and hopefully everyone has had a look at it. And then, yeah, OptiGrowth has a space in there, a regular feature called the Biz Buzz. So please look out for that, because they have some phenomenal, information to impart with everybody. What's next, Hank? So very quickly, thought I'd just cover what creativity means to me and why I think it's an extremely powerful skill to have. And it's not one that you cannot learn. You absolutely can learn to be creative. I think all of us are in our own rights in different ways. And the reason why it's so powerful is that the stats show that it actually feeds your brain. It actually helps your brain to expand and grow and think outside of the box. It helps with stress levels. So whatever your creativity thing is, it might be cooking, baking, reading, writing, whatever it is, it does actually help with your stress levels. And it certainly has helped with mine over the years. It actually makes you live longer. So if you do want to live longer, get creative. And it helps with lateral thinking. It's all that just outside, just thinking, not always with blinkers on. I do truly believe that does help. Next slide, Henk.
So Lisa, maybe just before we move on.
Yes.
So
sure.
How do you cope with your family, working from home under these lockdown periods? How did you find the family interaction in your creative period of thinking out of the box?
Well, I have amazing support at home. My husband, Donovan, is always supported every crazy idea that's ever come up. In fact, when one comes up, he goes, okay, and leaves me to it. So in terms of lockdown and the business and being creative, I think I was more creative than ever because I just could just zone out, and there was no interruptions, no disruptions, no, could just do what I needed to do. And he was great with letting me do that. We very much have our own space in the house. And even my son, my 12-year-old, because he's now the gamer, it's quite easy to let him go do his thing and mom does hers. So it for me, it actually was, amongst all the horribleness of this time that people have been through, I have to say that it wasn't horrible for me. And I do want to say that I think it's not just because of being creative. I think it was because of what I've built up over the years in the business that I was able to sustain and carry on. And I think I'm more creative when I'm on my own anyway. So this was the perfect time.
Excellent. All right.
Okay. So I'm not going to keep you too long. I think I want people to sort of ask questions, and I wanted to also tell you what's coming up for Lisa Bell and the Word Architect, and very exciting stuff that we're working on. But just in terms of trying to be more creative, it's obvious stuff, but it's what's worked for me. And I would say that if you want to just start being more creative, there are definitely certain times of the day that are better for that. And the research has shown that to be more creative, it actually is when you're just about to fall asleep at night, that moment when you're just zoning out, and also when you wake up. So if you've ever had a dream, and a lot of my ideas come from dreams, you ever had a dream, you've woken up and you say, oh, that was just awesome, or I must remember that. And 5 minutes later, you're up and you've forgotten it. I have a habit of keeping a notepad at my bedside. And even if I wake up in the middle of the night, or it's just before I go to sleep, or as I wake up, write down something, whatever that is that you've just thought of. And you'll be amazed at the ideas and the creativity that will come from that. Okay, next one. And I'm a firm believer in exercise and sun and being outdoors and just getting back with nature. And it definitely has been sorely missed over the last couple of months, although, you know, we have obviously can do a lot more now. But it's those endorphins, it's that vitamin D, it's all of that. I think it's very vital for us to get out there, and that inspires creativity as well. Next one, there we go. I've always done some kind of hobby. Painting. I even sold a few pieces in my time. Again, of course, the writing, a little baking, cooking, just, you know, doing something creative, whatever that is, even if it's, you know, just, I don't know, whatever interests you, do that, and take your mind off of work and take your mind off of the normal things every day. And that will definitely spur on your creativity as well. And then this is a bit of an odd one, but it actually take yourself out of your comfort zone, because a lot of people sit in that little box and they don't move out of it. They literally do their work, they do their family, they do whatever they need to do, and they don't move outside. But force yourself to do that. Put yourself under pressure. You know, make yourself do that thing that you wanted to do, but you never did. You know, the bucket list stuff. It creates a non-lazy behavior. It forces you to just, you know, just think differently. And that in itself will inspire you to be creative. And lastly, a bit of an odd one, but I have always had a pet in my life, from dogs to cats. I mean, that's where we've always been. We always had some kind of form of pet. They are, if you're a pet owner, you'll know they are beautiful creatures, and they don't want anything else from you but just you. And yes, they want food, but they just want you. And I think they can actually inspire you to be creative and just let go and think outside. So lastly, a couple of things that are coming up for us, and I say us because everything I do is collaborative. There is another book on the horizon after this next one gets released. Just need to get my ass into gear in finishing it off. I have been asked so many times, Lisa, when are you going to write a business book? When are you going to write, you know, like a completely fictional book, and not this nonsense or poppycock, as Henk would call it? And I do have some ideas. It will be collaborative. I'm not sure where it's going yet, but there is something on the horizon. And lastly, have had opportunity to recently get involved in a clothing brand. So watch the space. We'll see what happens there.
You say you have a lot on your plate. So what what are the areas that you think you need to find balance on for you personally?
Sure.
Personal one, but
I am personally or business wise.
I know it's a personal question, but maybe you can share
Okay.
Where does your challenge lie to find that balance?
Sure. I think sometimes I take way too much on, and clearly, as you can see, there's a lot going on, and I get a little flabbergasted, and then I have like a complete meltdown, and that's me. I can't do a thing. So for me, I think it's just appreciate the fact, again, that I cannot do this alone. I have to reach out, and I mustn't take on things alone. I mean, it's very easy to say I'm going to just do all of this and not actually include people. But so that's, sometimes I do that, and I need to stop myself and go, no, Lisa, you need to either not do that, or you need to bring someone in. So that's my bugbear. I need to just find that balance.
Okay.
And that's kind of me in a nutshell. For me, when I went over this presentation, I thought this is like really crappy because it's so simple and it's obvious stuff. But I think at the end of the day, that's what it should be. It should be the obvious stuff that you need to be doing and do it well. yeah, and just thank you to OptiGrowth again, and anybody else who's on the call that has somehow been involved with my journey, because it definitely has not been done alone.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa.
Lisa?
Get it. Questions?
Yes. Yeah.
Question from my side. So what would you say is your hardest, I mean, you've been a business owner for most of your life. What is the hardest aspect of running so many small businesses that you picked up on?
The money side. The finances. I am absolutely terrible with it. I don't mind admitting that. My brain just doesn't like numbers. It's something I've struggled with forever, and it just doesn't sit well with me. So I either need to find someone, a partner who is like awesome at it, and I don't need to think about it, or I need to upskill myself so seriously. But it really has been a struggle, and I don't want it to become a problem either. Like, I don't want the money side to be an issue, that it could be the downfall of the business because you just didn't pay attention. So that has been a true struggle for me. And thank you to you guys, because you forced me to focus on that, which I absolutely hate.
I don't think anyone likes it, to be honest.
No, I think you do actually, Damien.
I don't like it. I definitely don't like the money aspect of it, but we have to do it anyway, I suppose. Yeah. And then the last question from my side quickly says is, I mean, what are your next big plans? I mean, I know I've asked you this previously, and the answer changes year on year, but what is your sort of succession plan? What is your idea of keeping your business going post you?
Yeah, there's a lot that where I want the business to go, and I think I've finally wrapped my head around that there is a potential for this business to be so much more. And I'm starting to slowly gather all the right people that can cover all the angles that I think the business, or the segments that the business is made up of. End game is that I want to be able to sell the business or shares or whatever that is, all those ugly words, to somebody or somebodies, whatever that may mean, at some point. I don't have a year in mind, but ultimately my goal is to rather be, I want to be an author. I want to be a full-time author. That's what I want to do. That's the business that I actually want to go to, which is running parallel to this one at the moment. So it's not a complete answer, but it is. That's where I want to go. I do want to get to the point where the business can either be, maybe it's franchised, maybe someone takes it over in its entirety, maybe it gets consumed into another business. I'm not sure what that is yet, but it's something worthy of a discussion. So yeah.
Awesome. And anybody else online that maybe want to ask Lisa a question? Just maybe also share a bit of information, something that you personally came across that you can resonate with, Lisa?
Yeah, I couldn't find the button, so that's why I was typing in the block.
Hello, Ellen.
Lisa.
Hello.
Yeah, so just to reiterate what I was typing is, you're great at what you do. I think when we started with you, the social media has just gotten so much positive feedback. And especially, I think I only realized I valued you, but I probably valued you even more during the lockdown, because you kept us alive, virtually, of course, on our social media platform. That I've got fantastic comments from our friends in the States, who were so excited to just see those blurbs that you would put out there, and they felt connected to us during this time of separations. From Pinocchio Creation, our entire organization, we love the word architect. Definitely a long-time relationship. And I have a question, Lisa.
Yes.
You work with a lot of you work with a lot of services, or at least skills that you outsource, of course. What would be the key points that you would advise those of us considering using outsourced services to keep in mind when we select, and when we also kind of craft the relationship to maximize the potential and the benefits of outsourcing services? Because I think a lot of us are thinking about cost cutting and areas that we don't necessarily need permanent staff for. So what's your take on that and guidance?
Yeah, it's a good question. Coming from many years of having employees in my insurance business, and I think at the end of the day, that was sort of the death of it. I had just bad experiences. So when it came to this business, I was dead set against employing anybody, and hence why I went the outsource route. My current permanent staff, who just recently became a permanent staff after many years, there was always an outsourced person. And I think that's important. So when you outsource someone, it is easier that way. It's a contract, and that it's almost testing the waters. I have a very firm contract in place, have a very firm, which I'm now realizing is even more necessary is, and Damien will tell you, is the process. Knowing this is how you want it done, they need to have it clear. There needs to be no gray lines. They need to know this is how you do it, and they must do it like that, with some leeway for suggestion, but do that, and then make sure that you test the waters. You know, if you purely want to keep them outsourced, then you can, but just consider there is some ramifications if they are, I understand, always being used, and they almost become like a permanent staff. But yeah, I would just say test it out. I would also say as well, which I have done and I'm doing again now with a new lady coming on board, is look at a profiling people. Karen's not on the call. Karen Powell normally would chat about that. It's actually just profiling people and how they work together and how they can fit as a whole in a puzzle. And some people just don't fit well, or they fit, but you've got to know how to work with them. So that for me has been absolutely amazing and has changed my relationship with the people that I work with as well, just to know how they are made up, you know, that's the ingredients, so that we can make that cake together.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Nice question, Helen. Lisa, Dean is asking, how do you create a time and environment in order to write? With all your different business interests, you put aside a block of time for creative writing? He claims he's too...
At the moment, I'm not being very good with that. I actually have a writing buddy, and I think that does help. So we kind of feed off each other, and we say, oh, have you written, did you do 1,000 words, whatever. So we do that. But I haven't been very good lately because of all the stuff that's going on. But there is a plan in place. And because it's creativity, which even for a creative person doesn't always flow when you want it to. So if I said to myself, okay, every Friday at that time to that time, I'm going to sit down and write. And I sit there and I go, nothing. There's nothing. That's pointless. So I have to find a way to not put it into a box, but actually when the inspiration flows, then to go, you know what, I'm actually going to put that to one side. I'm going to go do my novel writing or whatever it is that I'm, creativity doing. So not the greatest answer. And I think every author will tell you something different. But that's, I think go with the moment, the flow at the time, whatever feels good for you.
Yeah, that's cool. I see, Andre, you've got your hand up. Ask a question.
Yeah, am I on? Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, hi, Andre.
Hello, Lisa. How are you?
I'm well, you?
On Saturday, I had a celebration of women, and one of the people there was an author. When everyone said to her, where did you get the time? She said, I stopped cooking and cleaning the house many years ago.
I heard that.
she just refused point blank. Just wanted to say hello to Helen Phillips as well. One of my favorite interviews, and Lisa, you're one of my favorite human beings.
Hi, Andre.
Hello, Helen. It's nice to see you. One of the things I wanted to ask you, Lisa, recently we just had a law come out, and maybe even Damien and he can comment on this. We've got this new POPI law that has come out, which means that you can't just randomly email people or phone them or just get a hold of a client. Yet print advertising, I know the word is there, which is nice and cheap. But the reality is how are we going to get hold of clients into the future that aren't already part of our database? I know you're thinking about these things with your magazine, but how do you keep getting new clients?
Okay, so I'll answer that in two parts. The first one is in regards to the magazine and building up that subscriber base, which is obviously the power behind having a digital media concept, is I firstly spoke to someone in the know with regards to the POPI Act, and they said to me, as long as you invite them, as long as you're allowed to send an email or a contact to someone once, invite them, tell them what it's about, give them the option to go no. If they don't go no, or they don't do anything, then they're in, because you've given them the option. So we've been doing that. So as we've gathered databases, or someone says, you can have my database, I say, fine, but we're inviting them first. We're giving them the option. So, and of course, all the time, every time they get an email or a contact, there is an option to unsubscribe it, or every single, point. So that is important. As long as you've given them an option, you've invited, you've said, hello, do you want to? If they don't do anything about it, they're in. If they do say, I don't want to be in, then you have to back away. Second answer with regards to gathering clients is that I am obviously on social media everywhere, and I'm consistent about it. I am consistent, professional, branded, and to the point, short and sweet, no long blah, blah, blah. It's there, and I'm building my brand. So hopefully, like you would always recognize a McDonald's sign or an Apple or whatever, constantly pushing my brand out there. It's everywhere. And what's happened, it's got to do with the algorithms behind all these social media platforms. It's got to do with the consistency. It's got to do with connecting with people, just working the community the whole time. It comes back around. It's taken 3 years to get to the point that people are reaching out to me. I have no clue who they are, but they have somehow come around. So it's consistency. Just keep it putting it out there the whole time. It will come back to you. That's why when a client says to me, oh, Lisa, we've been doing this for a month and I haven't made a sale, I'm like, really? Really? So it takes time. It takes time.
Well done, by the way.
Andrea,
Thank
also
you.
from my side, quickly, Andrea, the other big thing about the POPI Act is with regards to the use of someone's information is how you use it. So what the POPI Act also does instruct any business owner or business to do is to keep record of how many times you have engaged, how you've used the information, and where the information has been shared. So it's the onus of the person using the information to advise any potential customer or person they're talking to or emails to where that information has been used and sent. And if you can't do that, that's where the problems tend to step in.
Yeah,
The
true.
best way to do that is probably to use some sort of email package which does it automatically, I would assume.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Anyone that you would recommend?
I actually don't know any offhand at the moment. I mean, it's still quite I suppose it's a very old regulation at the moment, but it hasn't been implemented yet to the extent to what it should be. So no one's really paid attention. But if you want to, we can always have a chat but later and see if we can't. I know a few companies who are experts in this realm who I can refer you.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks, Lottie.
Cool.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Lisa or for the team in general? Any comments, perhaps? Barbara's very quiet today. Nobody else? Lisa, so as always, I always learn from your energy. You reinvigorate me, if I can call it that. As a business advisor, as people that are sitting in other people's boardrooms and are very close to their performances in their businesses, we've seen people struggling. We've seen people really taking strain, emotionally getting rid of staffing structures, financial, of course, always, and it's difficult. So we latch onto energy around us as OptiGrowth and as human beings, Barbara and Damien, and you're one of those people. So thank you for your continued drive as well. You encourage people to think out of the box. And Andre, also quite rightly mentioned, you
Thank you.
come a long way with some of us, and what a pleasure to introduce you and to refer you to other people that may not have heard of you. So I don't know where your clothing line is going. That's a bit of a dark corner there, but for the rest of it, I'm a big fan of yours. All right.
Thank you. And I appreciate you guys' support. I really do. Has made a huge, I can't say it enough, really has made a difference. I think I've fought against a lot of collectively your ideas or your suggestions along the years. And there are still definitely factors that I need to address. But I think it is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. And I think every business grows constantly and changes and, but you guys have been awesome. And I highly recommend you all the time to everyone that has a business or is thinking of a business or has an idea or you just need some direction. So thank you as well.
Sorry, Lisa, Barbara is here.
Hi, Barbara.
Hello there. Listen, I did dial in a little bit late. I'm terribly sorry. I was just on another webinar. But yeah, I think I just want to reiterate. Well, firstly, because I did miss it, I just wanted to find out when did your passion for writing start? At what age?
I was a teen, so I've actually still got them. It was literally written, with the pen and paper. Must have been about like 13 or 14. Was writing love stories, and yeah, I was a bit of an introvert, so it was a nice place to express. Because have never been one to be very extrovert, even now. And so it's just a way to express, and that's where it started. And no one's ever read those stories either, and I'm the only one who's read them, so they're all in a box.
Well, there's a new potential book coming out at some stage with the young Lisa's thoughts and dreams.
Yeah, I read them now and I want to cringe, but anyway.
Yeah, but listen, I just want to reiterate what Henk said. Obviously, you've been part of our journey with us as well, so I just want to say thank you for always making me look quite intelligent. I love it. And your new online magazine is also stunning. It's really nice to be part of that as well. So well done to you and your team on all the great things that you're doing at the moment.
Thank you.
And
yeah.
The clothing range sounds like a good one.
Yeah. And I want to just say lastly, and I might have said it, but not in so many words, and I think she's listening in, is Kristen is part of my team. I don't think of her as an employee, actually. I think of her as a partner, and she's been absolutely amazing. She's just an amazing person, and I don't think she realizes her potential, and I have no idea why I'm tearing up. It's absolutely silly, but she actually is. She's just been such a support, and I actually couldn't have done all of this without her help as well. So thank you, Kristen.
And me a pleasure, Lisa.